of my 7th annual SLAP challenge. SLAP, S-L-A-P, stands for squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. We are doing at least 40 squats, at least 40 lunges, at least 40 reps of an ab exercise, and at least 40 push-ups a day, every single day except Sundays for 40 days. And this is day 28 already. But that does not mean that it is too late to join the challenge. Remember, it is never too late to join the challenge. Of course, you don't have to join the challenge if you just want to do today's workout with me. Wonderful. There are timestamps in the description box down below the video. So if you would prefer to just skip straight ahead to the workout, you can go ahead and use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to hear a little bit more about what the challenge is, how to participate, where to begin, and if you would like to see today's exercises demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now. So there's a playlist for this challenge. I will link the playlist up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and it will be linked right on the screen at the very, very end of the video, so you cannot miss it. So click on the link and save the playlist. Even if this is the first you're hearing about the challenge, you have no idea what the challenge is or whether or not you want to participate, save the playlist anyway so that when and if you decide you want to participate in the challenge, you have all of the workouts readily available to you. Now, this is designed as a 40-day challenge, so if you want to go back and start on day 1 of the challenge, fantastic. Just make sure that you start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday, and from there, all you have to do is follow along with the playlist, and everything will fall into place. I have made it super easy to follow along. That being said, if you are the one doing it, it's your challenge, so you do it in whatever way you want. If you want to just jump in today and start on day 28, great. If you want to start next week on day 29 and do the final 2 weeks of the challenge with me, fantastic. Whatever you can commit to is wonderful. I would much rather have you do the final 2 weeks of the challenge with me than none of the challenge. So you can jump in today, you can start on any day you want, but if you do want to go back to the beginning and start on day 1, just make sure you start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday. The challenge is designed to start on a Wednesday. As long as you start with day 1 on a Wednesday, just follow along with the playlist. Now, this year, we are in our Mama Bear era. So if you are following along with the workouts that I'm sharing this year for the challenge, this is year 7, I have been assuming that you're at more of an intermediate level. And what I mean by that is that you have access to a few basic pieces of fitness equipment. So like at least a set of dumbbells and maybe a yoga mat. Now, I have been providing equipment-free substitutions, and I will continue to do so. But I'm also assuming that if you're at more of an intermediate level following along with these year 7 workouts, that you are basically aware of how to do your squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups with the correct form. So I have been making sure to go over the correct form every day, but I'm not going into a ton of detail, and I have not been providing a lot of beginner modifications. So if you need more instruction with regard to how to do the workouts correctly, and or more beginner modifications, more options for beginners, then you are going to be better off to follow along with last year's playlist. So last year was my 6th year in a row doing the challenge, and last year I went out of my way to ensure that every single workout from day 1 through day 40 was absolutely accessible to day 1 beginners. We were not using any exercise equipment. I was assuming if you were an absolute beginner and you've never done a workout before a day in your life that you did not own any exercise equipment. So there were a couple of workouts where I was adding weight, but I was literally just holding onto a couple of shampoo bottles or a water bottle. So if you're an absolute beginner, you may think that you cannot do a 40-day fitness challenge. You may think that you cannot do a single squat or a push-up, but yes, you can. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to link the playlist for last year's challenge up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and it will be linked again on the end screen. So at the very, very end of the video, it'll be right there on the screen. It will say 6th Annual SLAP Challenge. That is our baby bear challenge. So the entire challenge last year was really structured with beginners in mind. So I would like you to just click on that link and save last year's playlist if you're an absolute beginner. I'm not asking you to commit to anything just yet. I'm not asking you to do a single squat or a push-up just yet. I want you to just do 3 things for me, please. click on the link in the iCard, save the playlist from year 6 of the challenge, and begin by watching that day 1 video. The day 1 video from last year explains everything you could ever possibly want to know about this challenge. I talked about the origins of the challenge, why I started doing the challenge for myself back in 2020. I talked about all of the different things we were looking to accomplish with this challenge. This is a physical challenge. This is also a mental health challenge. And I talked all about that in the video. I explained how you can participate in the challenge in your way. So again, if you are an absolute beginner and it's just too daunting to commit to a 40-day challenge, if you are the one doing the challenge, it is your challenge. You do it in whatever way works for you, but commit to what you can. So if you cannot make a commitment to do all 40 days, maybe you can commit to doing the first 20 days of the challenge with me, or the final 20 days of the challenge, or 10 days of the challenge. Maybe you can do every other day of the challenge. If it's too difficult to commit to doing 160 reps every day, maybe you can commit to doing 80 reps every day, or 40 reps every day. I had at least one person doing the challenge with me last year who was doing that. He was committing to doing 40 reps a day, so 10 squats, 10 lunges, 10 reps of abs, and 10 push-ups every day. So figure out what is going to be a realistic goal for you and then commit to doing that. So making the commitment is the most important part, but when and if you decide you want to participate in the challenge in your way, I talked you through all of the different ways that you can do that in that day 1 video. So the challenge always works the same. It is always designed as a 40-day challenge. Whether or not you do all 40 days is up to you, but it's always designed as a 40-day challenge. It is always 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups a day, every single day, except Sundays for 40 days. And the challenge is always designed to start on a Wednesday. So when and if you are ready to begin the challenge, just make sure that you start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday. And as long as you do that, again, all you have to do is follow along with the playlist and everything will fall into place. I have made it super easy to follow along, I promise, but just know that if you decide to do last year's challenge, even though you're following along with the videos I shared a year ago, I'm still here. I'm still doing the challenge with you every single day. I'm doing my reps too, and I am here to help guide you through the challenge. So that applies to everyone, regardless of fitness level, regardless of which playlist you're following along with, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I am here doing the challenge with you, and I am here to help guide you through the challenge. So I am here to encourage you and support you along the way. I am here to provide motivation if you need help with that. I am here to answer any and all questions that you may have. So if you are a beginner, you're not going to be going through this challenge alone, just know that. And also know that if you have no clue how to even do a squat properly, or if you think you can't do a push-up, again, watch the day 1 video from last year, because also in that video, I went into a lot of instruction. I explained how to do each exercise correctly with the proper form. I took a long time explaining and demonstrating every aspect of each movement, and I provided tons of beginner modifications that I promise you can do. So just to recap, if you're an absolute beginner, if you are in the worst shape imaginable, if you do not own a single piece of fitness equipment, you've never done a workout before a day in your life, and you think you can't do this challenge, I am telling you you can. I'm telling you this challenge is for you. Please click on the link in the iCard, save the playlist from year 6, and begin by watching that day 1 video. Give me an opportunity, please. I'm asking you to give me an opportunity to convince you that you can do this challenge. And then when and if you are ready to begin the challenge, you just start with that day 1 workout on a Wednesday, and then follow right along with the playlist. I will be here to help. So if you have any questions about any of last year's workouts, you can comment on the videos from last year and I will respond. I will help, okay? So that covers our year 6 of the challenge. That was our baby bear challenge. That covers this year, which is year 7. Right now we are in our mama bear era, so this is our intermediate challenge. If you want more of a challenge, if you're in excellent shape, you have really good stamina, you have access to some basic fitness pieces of fitness equipment, And maybe if you have a little bit more time to dedicate to your workouts every day and you are looking for workouts that are really going to push you, you are looking to begin a workout challenge that is actually going to challenge you, you are going to follow along with the Year 5 playlist. Year 5 was our Papa Bear challenge. So the workouts I was doing for Year 5 of the challenge were much longer because we were generally doing more than just 40 squats, just 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups. A lot of times I was doubling those reps. We were doing exercises other than just squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. I was generally adding weight to almost all of those workouts, and I was also incorporating about 20 minutes or so of moderate paced cardio right into most of those workouts as well. So if that sounds like something you want to check out, definitely, if you are advanced, I'm going to link the playlist from Year 5 up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video. It will also be linked at the very end of the video. So all 3 playlists, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, all 3 of those playlists, Years 5, 6, and 7, are linked in the iCard. All 3 of those playlists are linked in the description box down below the video, and all 3 of those playlists are linked on the end screen of the video. So especially if you're advanced, I'm going to recommend that you save all 3 of those playlists, because that way on any given day of the challenge you have 3 options to choose from. You have a beginner option, an intermediate option, and an advanced option. So for example, even if you're really advanced and you're capable of doing the tougher, longer workouts that we did for Year 5 of the challenge, there might be a day where you're super pressed for time, or you're not feeling well, you're a little tired, maybe you're traveling, you don't have access to equipment, and you just want something that you can do in 10 minutes or less without any equipment so that you can stick with the challenge and get your reps done while accommodating your access to equipment, your time constraints, any other restrictions that you might be looking at that day. The workouts from Year 6 of the challenge are still great workouts. They're just very short, very simple. If you're in excellent shape, they're probably not going to challenge you very much, but you can still get your reps done. And if you're in really great shape, you are going to be able to complete almost all of the Year 6 workouts in under 10 minutes. So that's a really great option to have. But also, if you are following along with this intermediate playlist, let's say you open up the video that I shared that day and you don't have the equipment that I'm using. You can see today I have my sandbag here. If you don't have a sandbag, you might want to just check out what we did last year on day 28, because you'll be guaranteed to not need any fitness equipment for it. Or I will be providing equipment-free substitutions, so you can still follow along with this video. But let's say you look at what we're doing today and you think, well, I can do that, but you know, this is day 28 and the challenge is really starting to work. I'm really starting to feel myself get stronger. I'm feeling my stamina improve. I just got a new sandbag and I want to try to see if I can challenge myself more. I have a little bit of extra time today, and I really want to work out today that's going to push me really, really hard. Then you can follow along with the Year 5 workout. For the most part, the workouts are going to be very similar, but sometimes I have changed them around. So sometimes the workouts will look different, but for the most part, if it's the day 25 workout, it's going to basically be the same workout, but just done at different fitness levels with and without equipment. But you don't have to do, like today's day 28, you don't have to do the day 28 workout on day 28. So you can do any of these workouts on any given day. So let's say you open up today's video and you're not crazy about the workout I'm doing today. It's not gonna work for you for whatever reason. You don't have a sandbag, you just don't like the push-up variation we're doing, whatever. But there was a workout that we did earlier this year that you loved. You can go back and revisit that workout, that's fine. Or let's say you're pressed for time, you're not feeling well, and you feel like scaling it back a little bit and choosing a workout off of last year's beginner playlist. It doesn't have to be the day 28 workout. You can do any of the workouts off of last year's playlist if you want something that's just short and simple that you can get done quickly and that isn't going to be too strenuous for you. Same thing, if you want to push yourself really hard, let's say you open up today's video and you think, well, I'm starting to feel stronger and I have a good 2 hours today to dedicate to my workout, so I can do something super long and tough, but I don't have a sandbag. Well, you can check out the Year 5 playlist and choose any workout off of the Year 5 playlist where I'm not using a sandbag. So on any given day, any of the workouts off of any of these playlists are fine. I share a new workout every day. The workouts are labeled days 1 through day 40. That is how I do the challenge every year, and you're welcome to just follow along with the playlist. But you don't have to stick with one playlist the entire time. You can bounce around between all 3 playlists, and you do not have to go in order. You do not have to go day 1 through day 40. You can do any workout you want on any given day, whether it's off of these playlists or not. It doesn't even have to be off of my channel. It doesn't have to be one of my workouts. Any workout in the whole world that happens to contain at least 40 squats, at least 40 lunges, at least 40 reps of an ab exercise, and at least 40 push-ups will work. So you can choose any workout that meets those requirements. You can write your own workout, but you don't even have to do a workout if you don't want to. Every day I incorporate my daily reps into a structured workout to keep things interesting and to make the video more interesting to share with you. So we're not just doing the same thing every day and the challenge doesn't get boring, and we're not just working the same muscles in the same day every day, or in the same way every single day. So I choose to incorporate my daily reps into a structured workout, and I share that workout with you every day. But if you don't have time to do a structured workout, or if it's still too difficult for you to do all of your reps at once, you can spread out your reps throughout the course of the day. So you could wake up in the morning, first thing, do 10 squats, 10 lunges, 10 reps of any ab exercise you want, and 10 push-ups. And it can be any variations of those 4 exercises you want. And then you could just repeat that 3 more times throughout the course of your day. So you could do that again after lunch. You could do it again after you get home from work. Once more before bed, there's your 160 reps. So I've designed the challenge to be really, really adaptable. It's really easy to customize each individual workout. So for example, let's say you're following along with today's video, but the push-up variation I'm doing is too difficult for you. You can still follow along with the video. You can work out along with me, but while I'm doing my push-ups, you can be doing a different push-up variation. Okay, you can do that for any of these 4 exercises. You can always swap out. You can follow along with the video and do the workout I'm doing, but just swap out 1 or more exercises with a different variation of that exercise. And again, it's really easy to customize the length of the challenge. You don't have to make it 40 days. My challenge is 40 days. Your challenge can be 20 days, or 10 days, or 15 days, or 30 days. You can do every other day of the challenge. So it's very easy to customize and modify the challenge to accommodate your fitness level, to accommodate your access to equipment, to accommodate your time constraints. So it's a very flexible challenge. It's very easy to find a way to get your reps done every day as long as you have made the commitment that you're going to do it. So the hardest part is saying, I'm going to do this challenge. I am doing this challenge. I promise once you make that commitment, once you use definitive language and decisive language. So for example, it's not, you're watching this video and you think, okay, today's Saturday, so maybe I'll do the final 2 weeks of the challenge. So I'll try to find time on Monday. I have a busy day on Monday. I have all these meetings. I have to run errands. I have to pick up the kids. Whatever. I'm going to be super busy that day, but I'll try to find time to do the reps. I'll try to remember. Try. Stop saying you're going to try to do the challenge. Do the challenge. It is amazing what happens. There is something that happens in your brain as soon as you stop saying, I'll try to find the time on Monday. And you say, Monday morning, I'm going to begin this challenge. I'm going to get up Monday morning and I'm going to, first thing, I'm going to watch the video, the new video on Monday morning, and I'm going to get my reps done. And I'm going to see how long the workout takes, and if I don't have that amount of time, I'm going to spread out my reps throughout the day. I'll do half of the workout in the morning and the other half at night. But you immediately, as soon as you remove the word try and you make that commitment that you are doing the challenge, it's like there's a switch that flips in your brain, and you immediately go from excuse mode to problem solving mode. You immediately transition from finding excuses as to why you didn't get the reps done that day to finding solutions, finding out a way that you can get your reps done even though you're tired, even though you don't have the equipment I'm using, even though you are super pressed for time. So it starts with making the commitment. So again, all 3 playlists are linked in the iCard. All 3 playlists are linked in the description box down below the video, and all 3 playlists are linked at the very end of the video. So I recommend saving all 3 playlists, and then when and if you decide you want to participate in the challenge, start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday, and then just follow along with the playlist. I will be here every single day doing the workouts with you, and I'm here to guide you through the challenge. So if you have any questions about what the challenge is, why we're doing this challenge, how you can participate, where to begin, if you're having any trouble accessing any of the links for the playlists, I am here to help. So please ask questions if you have them. But that is quite enough about the challenge for today. Let's go ahead and get into the exercises that we are doing for today's workout. So first of all, you can see that I have my sandbag here. For reference, and for reference only, my sandbag is filled with about 25 pounds of sand. That is a good weight for me. You may need to use something lighter than that. You may need to use something heavier than that. That depends on your strength. It depends on your level of fitness. It also just depends on what you have available to you. And of course, it depends on how hard you are looking to push yourself today. So please consider all of those factors when choosing your weight and make the decision that is best for you. Now, if you do not have a sandbag, you may be able to fashion something similar to a sandbag by using a duffel bag or a backpack filled with some sort of weight, maybe like bags of rice or dried beans or lentils, kitty litter, powdered laundry detergent, something like that. So that's a possibility. I also recommend, this is a very useful piece of equipment. So if you are at kind of an intermediate level or an advanced level and you've been thinking about adding items to your home gym, I love my sandbag. I think it is a very versatile piece of equipment. I think it's very effective, and I strongly recommend owning one. So if you're considering purchasing a sandbag, again, for reference, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I have like 600 subscribers. So I am not sponsored or anything like that, but just letting you know in case you're curious, this is the ultimate sandbag. That's the brand of this sandbag, but I am 100% certain you could find cheaper sandbags on like Amazon or something. But another really good idea, I think, is to check sites like OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, that kind of thing, because you can very frequently find fitness equipment on there, either gently used or never used, for a good price. Because a lot of times people buy fitness equipment thinking that they're going to use it and get in great shape at home, and then they just don't use it. So then they're looking to get rid of it and get some of that investment back. So definitely, if you're looking to add a sandbag, I recommend that. You could probably find something affordable on Amazon if you want this exact sandbag. This is called the Ultimate Sandbag, and you can probably also find something very reasonably priced on an OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace or something like that. The other thing you could do is I will show you equipment-free substitutions. And also, for some of the exercises, you probably could use like a kettlebell or a dumbbell. So I will go through those modifications after I show you the exercises the way I'm doing them. But we are starting with squats. Actually, we're starting with push-ups, but I'll go through the exercises in order: squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups, and then I'll explain the format. So again, remember that any squat variation you want to do is fine. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my sandbag, and I'm going to show you an equipment-free option, but any squat variation you want to do is fine. Just make sure you're minding your form. So make sure that you're keeping your back flat and keeping the weight in your heels. So before I squat, I like to first think about tucking my shoulder blades into my back pockets so that my shoulders are back and down. My chest is lifted nice and high. Tighten up your abs. And then I like to think of this as a hip hinge first. So before I squat, I'm actually hinging at the hips, pushing my booty back, thinking like you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty. At the same time, remember, those shoulder blades are tucked into the back pockets, chest is lifted high. So you're also trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest, elongating that spine so that your back stays flat and all of the weight is in your heels. You see, I can actually pick up my toes, and from here is where I'll sink into my squat, then press the ground away to stand. So flat back, weight in the heels is going to apply to any squat variation you choose. I am going to be doing a sandbag clean, and then I'm going to press the bag up overhead. Then I'm going to do a Zercher squat, and as I stand from my Zercher squat, I'm going to do another overhead press. So we're turning this into a compound movement. That's a lot of elements. You can just do Zercher squats. So if you have a bag, but you want something a little bit more simplified, you can just do Zercher squats. So you can just hold the bag like this in front of your chest and do your squats like this, okay? That's absolutely fine. I am going to be doing that, but after each squat, I'm going to press the bag up overhead, and I'm also going to be adding a sandbag clean and press. So when I say sandbag clean, it's the same thing as like a dumbbell or a barbell clean, but we're using a sandbag. You could do like a kettlebell snatch in place of this, but if you don't have a bag, you can just eliminate this part of the movement. But I'm hinging at the hips, so back is flat, weight is in the heels, legs are bent slightly. So I'm not walking out my legs, I'm not actively trying to keep my legs straight as I do this. I specifically don't want my legs straight. I have a soft bend to my knees. So soft bend to the knees, press those feet into the ground, hinging at the hips, back is flat, weight is in the heels. So I'm going to, from this bent over position, I'm grabbing a hold of my sandbag by these two handles, and then I'm going to hinge at the hips to stand. And as I do that, I'm going to bring the bag with me, and I'm going to flip the bag up and over so that I catch it in my elbows like this. That's a sandbag clean. Then from here, I'm just going to straighten my arms and press the sandbag up overhead. Then bringing the sandbag back down to my chest. That's my sandbag clean and press. Now I'm going to do my Zercher squat with an overhead press. And that's 1 rep. So now I'm going to flip the bag up and over and return to my starting position. Okay, so hinging at the hips, clean the sandbag, press it up overhead, bring it back down in front of your chest, Zercher squat, overhead press. Bag comes back down, flip it up and over. Clean and press, squat and press. Okay, so that is my squat variation. So if you don't have a bag, but you do have a sandbell, a kettlebell, or like a heavy dumbbell or something, you can snatch your kettlebell and press it up overhead. And then you can do like a goblet squat. So I don't have a kettlebell to show you, but pretend I have a kettlebell. So if you have a kettlebell, I'm assuming you know how to do a kettlebell snatch. That's one of the most popular exercises to do with your kettlebell. So you can do a kettlebell snatch. Your kettlebell is up here by your shoulder. Then you can do your overhead press with one arm. And then you can bring the kettlebell in front of you, hold on to the kettlebell with both hands, and do a goblet squat, and then press it up overhead. You can also do that with a heavy dumbbell or a household item. So it will be very heavy, but if you want to do that with like a shampoo bottle or a water bottle filled with some sort of weight, that's fine. So look for household items that will work. If you don't have household items that you can use to fashion something similar to a sandbag, you could grab a water bottle or shampoo bottle. You could fill it with water. You could probably make it heavier by filling it with something like uncooked rice or dried beans or lentils, kitty litter, powdered laundry detergent, something like that. But as long as you can find something that you are able to maintain a secure grip on so that you're not going to drop it and injure yourself or break something and make a mess, then pretty much anything can work for weight. So get creative and use what you've got. If you have nothing at all that's going to work for weight, or you just don't want to add weight to the workout, again, remember, you have last year's day 28 video that you could opt to do instead. So I'm going to link the video for day 28 of the challenge from last year up here in the iCard, and it will also be linked in the description box down below the video. So if you're a beginner or you don't have any equipment, or you just don't want to add equipment today, remember that you have the option of following along with last year's day 28 workout. And also if you're a beginner and you need further instructions as far as how to do the exercises correctly, if you need help with beginner modifications, that video is probably going to be a better one to follow along with. You're welcome to stay here. I'm providing equipment-free substitutions, and I'm doing my best to go over the proper form for each exercise, and of course I'm here to answer questions if you have them. But if you want an equipment-free substitution, I'm going to say, since with my sandbag clean, if you remove, obviously there's nothing to clean if you're not using equipment. So if you remove that, you're really just doing a hip hinge, and there's nothing to press up overhead. So we can eliminate that. So when you eliminate both of those things, you're left with a hip hinge and a squat. So just do a good morning and then like a prisoner squat. So for your good morning, have your hands clasped behind your head, or you can just have your fingers lightly touching your ears. You could have your arms folded in front of you. It really doesn't matter, but I usually like to have my fingertips kind of touching the backs of my ears. But a good morning is really just a hip hinge. So again, you're going to make sure there's a soft bend to your knees, gripping the ground with your feet. You're hinging at the hips, so tucking the shoulder blades into the back pockets. Shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high, abs are tight, pushing the booty back, keeping your back flat, keeping the weight in your heels, and then you're just hinging at the hips to stand. That's a good morning, okay? So you're trying to get your torso parallel to the ground if you can, but work to your own level. Please do not push your body into doing anything that it is not ready to do, but that's what you're going for, okay? So you're just hinging at the hips for your good morning, hinge at the hips to stand, and then prisoner squat. When I say prisoner squat, it's really just an air squat, but I have my hands clasped behind my head. You can have your hands wherever you want, okay? So good morning, and squat. Hinge at the hips, and squat, okay? So that is your equipment-free substitution. If you want to do the most similar exercise to what I'm doing without any equipment, but again, any squat variation you want to do is fine. All right, moving on to lunges, I'm doing a side lunge variation. So any side lunge you want to do is fine. Again, just make sure that your shoulders are back and down, chest is high. As you step to the side and lunge, you're pushing your booty back, your back is flat, and all of the weight is in the heel of this lunging foot. So I like to, if I'm not holding on to anything, I will like to typically tap my toe, and you can do that. Just make sure that if you're not holding onto equipment and you're going to choose to tap your toe, make sure that you're not rounding your back to get there. If you can only reach your toe by rounding your back, then tap your knee instead. The more important thing is to make sure those shoulder blades stay tucked into your back pockets and that you are keeping your back flat and the weight in this heel, okay? Then you'll press this heel into the ground to stand and step back. So that's just a side lunge, and I'm going to be adding a little oblique twist, and I'm going to be adding weight. So you can add a twist. If you're not adding weight though, you need an equipment-free substitution, then that absolutely, you can add this little twist if you want. I'm gonna be holding my bag on my shoulder, so if you want, you can add like a punch, like that. That can work, all right? Or you can tap the toe as long as you're able to do so without rounding your back. You can add a kick, whatever you want to do. I'm also going to be adding a little knee up, so you can add that as well. So probably the most similar to what I'm doing without the bag would be maybe step to the side and lunge, twist and punch, step the foot in and bring it up. Drive the knee up towards your chest. And then right into the next stretch, step to the side and lunge, punch, drive the knee up and hold. Okay, so that's your equipment-free substitution. You could also do that holding onto a kettlebell or a dumbbell. That would be fine. You could just hold the weight up here. Depending on how heavy your weight is and how hard you want to push yourself today and how strong you are, you could still do the punch. So for example, if you're holding onto a light dumbbell or a water bottle or a shampoo bottle, you could do the exercise with a punch, and you could even do like an overhead press here. That's fine. Okay, so anything similar to that will work, but I'm going to have my sandbag on my shoulder. So how long to hold the knee up part? Just until you feel like you have control of the movement. Press your standing foot into the ground. Visualize roots growing out of the bottom of your foot into the ground, like you are a tree, or plant into the ground, and you feel, once you feel super strong and solid here, like you could hold this all day if you wanted to. As soon as you have that sensation, you can go into your next rep, okay? So it's not like you have to hold it like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. We're not holding it for a specified amount of time. Just hold it until you feel like you're in control, you're balanced, and then go right into the next rep. If you're struggling for balance and you're wobbling around, tap your foot down to check your balance, that's fine. The goal is not to tap it down, but obviously if you need to tap your foot down and check your balance, that's fine. But do your best to really fight for that balance. Feel all those tiny little stabilizer muscles in your core firing, and fight for that balance. And then once you feel like you're balanced, you can move on to the next rep. But I'm just going to throw my sandbag over one shoulder. The side the sandbag is on is my standing leg. So I'm going to pick up the opposite foot and lunge to the side. And I'm gonna add this little oblique twist. And then as I stand, I'm gonna drive that knee up towards my chest and hold here, right into the next rep. So the goal is never to put this foot down, except for when you're doing your lunge. Okay, so lunge and twist, knee up and hold. Okay, so that is my lunge variation. You do any lunge variation you want. I've given you a side lunge variation that is the most similar to what I'm doing. I've given you that option holding onto a kettlebell or a dumbbell, and I've given you an equipment-free option. You can do any side lunge variation you want, with or without weight, but it doesn't even have to be a side lunge variation. You can do forward lunges. You can do reverse lunges. You can do curtsy lunges. It doesn't matter. Remember, any lunge variation you want to do is fine. So moving on to abs. This year, I'm doing a different ab exercise than what is typical for this workout. So years 1 through 4 of the challenge, I did a sliding exercise here in my living room, and I put towels under, or like hand towels or washcloths or whatever under my feet so I could slide. I don't have anything that will slide up here in the concrete. So year 5, when I did this workout, I substituted with a completely different ab exercise. I was doing dead bugs with my sandbag, so that's a great exercise. And if you want to do that exercise, you can follow along with the year 5 workout, or yeah, the year 5, the day 28 workout from year 5. I will link that workout up here in the iCard, and it will also be linked in the description box down below the video. The squats, the lunges, and the push-ups in that video are exactly the same as what we're doing today. The only difference is that we're adding cardio. So if you want to add cardio, if you like these exercises we're doing today, but you want to incorporate cardio into your workout, that's a perfect option. And you can do this exercise that I'm about to show you now, or if you follow along with the year 5 video, we were doing dead bugs. So that's another option. If you want to do dead bugs for your ab exercise with the sandbag, super challenging, great exercise. You can follow along with the year 5 video. But for today, I'm going to just be doing a sandbag lateral pull, or I always call it back drag. So I'm just going to have my bag have it on the mat so it doesn't get all scraped up on the concrete. But if I'm doing this in my living room, I have it right on the wood floor. That's the only thing I'm using my mat for today though. So I'm just going to be in a plank pose, and then from here, I'm going to reach across and grab a hold of the handle of the sandbag and just pull it to the other side, back and forth. Okay, super simple. All right, very simple movement, super tough. You'll feel it throughout your entire core. So you're trying to do your best to keep your plank straight, like keep your chest pointing straight down at the ground, meaning that as you reach across, you're trying not to allow your hips to open up to the side, and as you pull the bag to this side, you're trying not to allow your hips to open up to this side. Okay, so you want your chest and your hips and your torso as much as possible facing straight down at the ground the entire time. It's inevitable that you're going to kind of rock back and forth a little bit because you're shifting your balance to one side to the other, but what you're trying to do is kind of fight against that. You want that tension. So I don't mean fight like you're fighting yourself, but the inclination is going to be to kind of twist this way. So just kind of as you're doing this, really think about keeping your torso facing straight down, because that's where you're really going to feel that kind of squeeze in the obliques, and that's where all of that good core work comes in. So don't beat yourself up if your hips are opening up to the side a little bit and you're kind of rocking a little bit. Just be cognizant of it and do your best to kind of fight against that. And just make sure that you're maintaining integrity in that plank pose as much as possible the entire time. You want your body in one perfectly straight line from your heels all the way to your shoulders. So make sure that your head stays in line with your spine, meaning that if you visualize that you're standing up against a wall, with your back up against the wall and just gently pressing the back of your head into the wall, that's where you want your head to be, that's where you want your head to stay. And make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. So spread out all 10 fingers, place your hands directly on the floor or the ground underneath, directly underneath your shoulders, and then step your feet back. So your head is in line with your spine. You're not allowing your head to droop down like this. You do not need to overcorrect by hyperextending your neck. Head is in line with the spine, shoulders are away from the ears. So you don't want to be sinking down into your shoulders like this. Press the ground away from you. Push yourself up nice and high in that plank so that your shoulders are away from your ears. And make sure your back is flat. So if your hips or your belly are drooping down like this, you want to tighten up those abs. Use your ab muscles to lift your hips high and keep them lifted high so that your body is in one perfectly straight line from your heels all the way to your shoulders. If your hips are slightly elevated, that's not terrible. It's not ideal. Ideally, you want that plank pose to be where your body is literally like a plank of wood in one perfectly straight line. But if your heels are elevated, your back is still flat in that position, so it's fine. Don't worry about it too much. You're not going to hurt yourself. It's not ideal, but it's fine. So do your best to have your body in one perfectly straight line from your heels to your shoulders. But the more important thing is that your back is flat. So make sure you're keeping those hips lifted nice and high. Make sure your abs are super engaged the whole time. So if you do not have a bag or something similar, you can do the same exercise with a kettlebell or a heavy dumbbell. You can, depending on how heavy it is, you can drag it or you can kind of pick it up and move it. I do this exercise with one of my dumbbells all the time, like a 10-pound dumbbell. It's not that heavy, but it's still a great exercise to do. So you just start with your dumbbell on one side and then either drag it to the other side, drag it back, or you can pick it up, keep it low, as close to a drag as you can, you know what I mean? So you can do that with a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a household item. But if you need an equipment-free option, then any plank exercise really will kind of work here as long as you're really engaging your abs, okay? So the thing with the bag drag is that you're balancing on one hand and shifting your weight from one arm to the other. So anything where you're doing that is fine. So for example, you could do like plank shoulder taps. So you could pick up one hand at a time, tap the opposite shoulder, or you could do Santana planks where you're rotating into a side plank like this. Okay, so any kind of plank exercise where you're shifting your weight from one side to the other and keeping your torso facing straight down towards the mat as much as possible while you do that will work. So shoulder taps or Santana planks are both great options. But you could do, if that's too difficult, you could do like knee tucks or something. So you could do like reptile knee tucks where you're tucking your knee towards the elbow, or you could just do straight knee tucks, tucking your knee straight in towards the chest. You could lift one leg at a time, do these plank leg lifts. Okay, any kind of plank exercise like that, as long as you are really engaging your entire core, abs are tight, and you're using your ab muscles to keep your hips lifted high, any plank exercise will work. If you want to do dead bugs, that is also another great option. So that's what I did in year 5. And you can do that with 1 or 2 dumbbells. You can do that with a kettlebell. So let me show you that option really quickly, and then if you like that exercise and you also have a jump rope and you want to incorporate cardio, you might want to follow along with the year 5 workout. So dead bugs are a great core exercise, great for your lower abs, and this is an exercise that I frequently do without added weight or with a light set of dumbbells. So let me show you that first. So if I'm not doing this exercise today, but if you want to do dead bugs instead of a plank exercise, you're going to come down on your mat, knees are bent at about a 90-degree angle, heels are elevated, and your arms are straight up like this, coming straight, facing straight towards the ceiling. And then from here, you're just going to lower one leg at a time. At the same time, you're lowering the opposite arm with control, and then reverse the movement. Bring the leg back, bring the arm back. Other leg, other arm, tap the heel down, reverse the movement. So you want to do your best as you're lowering one leg to the ground. You want to do your best to keep this leg perfectly straight. The temptation is going to be as this leg lowers to allow this knee to come in towards the chest. So you want to work against that. So as you're lowering one leg towards the ground, do your best to make sure that the opposite arm doesn't move, the opposite leg doesn't move, and also the opposite arm doesn't move, okay? And then come back, alternate sides. Make sure the movement is under control, so you're not just dropping your heel down, you're lowering your heel down with control, gently tapping it to the ground, and then bringing the knee back. And make sure that you're tilting your pelvis forward. So from your starting position here, if you're lying on the mat relaxed, there's going to probably be a curve. Your spine curves at the bottom. So there's going to be space between your low back and the mat. You see how I can put my hand underneath there? We want to get rid of that, so you do that by tilting your pelvis forward, pressing your low back into the mat so that there's no more space and you cannot get anything in there. That's going to help you activate your lower abs for this exercise. And there are so many different ways to do this exercise, so if you need an equipment-free option, you can do what I just showed you. You can also do it holding onto a light set of dumbbells. I do it like that all the time. Or you can be holding onto one kettlebell or a medicine ball or something, and you can lower both arms. So one leg and both arms, and now opposite leg, but both arms, okay? That's another option. Or you can just leave your arms up here, just lower the legs, that's fine. I have a larger medicine ball, and I do this exercise all the time with that as well. I hold my ball up against my legs, and then I just lower one leg, lower the opposite arm, but hold on to my ball here, so my ball stays here the whole time. So there are so many different ways to do this exercise and incorporate so many different pieces of equipment, but you can also do it without any equipment, and it's still a great exercise. I am going to be holding onto my sandbag. So what I'm going to do, I'm holding onto the sandbag with both arms the whole time, but what I'm going to do as I lower this leg, I'm going to lower my bag towards the opposite, towards the ground on the opposite side, okay? And then I'll bring it back up, and as I lower the opposite leg, I'm lowering my sandbag down towards the opposite shoulder, okay? So it's going to look like this. Well, it would look like this if I was doing this exercise today, which I'm not. I'm going to grab a hold of these outside handles of my sandbag. I'm holding the sandbag up overhead like this, pressing my low back into the mat, knees are at about a 90-degree angle, heels elevated, and as I lower one heel down towards the ground, I'm just bringing my sandbag towards the opposite shoulder, and then reverse the movement, and then opposite side with the opposite leg, okay? Okay, so if you want to do a dead bug variation, you can follow along with this video and just do dead bugs while I'm doing my bag drags, or you can follow along with the year 5 playlist, but you can also do like a sliding plank exercise. That is what this exercise was the first few years of the challenge when I was doing the workouts in my living room, but I don't have anything that will slide out here. So what we were doing was starting here in a plank position with feet together, sliding the feet out, and then sliding them in, and then sliding my knees in towards my chest and sliding them out. But I can't slide out here. So you can do that. You could jump the feet out and in, and then jump the feet in towards your chest and back. That's the exercise we did years 1 through 4 of the challenge, but instead of jumping the feet out and in, we were sliding them. So that's another option. So remember, any ab exercise you want to do is fine. And if you prefer to just do like a crunch variation or sit-up variation, you can do that. Okay, so there's tons of options for abs. Now, moving on to push-ups. I'm doing dive bombers. Don't hate me. It's day 28, you guys. We got to start taking it up a notch. Got to start doing some more challenging variations of these exercises. So if you don't like dive bombers or you can't do them, remember, any push-up variation you want to do is fine. Just mind your form of the push-ups. The same way we went through all that detail about your plank pose for our ab exercise, just make sure you're maintaining that perfectly straight line from your heels to your shoulders. Or if you're doing knee push-ups, your straight line is from your knees to your shoulders, but just make sure you're keeping your body in one straight line as you do your push-ups if you're not doing dive bombers. If you're doing dive bombers, then your body's not going to be in one straight line the whole time. But it is for the beginning of the exercise. So this exercise starts out in pretty much a downward facing dog pose, but with your heels elevated. So from your plank pose, what you're going to do is push your hips up and back, really pressing the ground away from you. Again, your shoulders are away from your ears, so press your hands into the ground, press your shoulders away. And you want your body in one straight line from your shoulders all the way to your hips. So you're pushing your hips up and back, and you want your body ideally to be in a perfect V. So one straight line from your wrists to your hips, one straight line from your hips to your heels. Now, if you lack flexibility in your hamstrings, you may have a slight bend to your knees, and that's absolutely fine. Again, please work to your own level. Again, please do not push your body into doing anything that it is not ready to do. So bending your knees is absolutely fine. The important thing is that your back is flat. Okay, so you don't want to round it back. You want to press your hands into the mat, press your hips up and back. If your knees have to be slightly bent, that's fine. Just make sure your back is flat. If you're able to straighten your knees, fantastic. And my heels are elevated, so it's basically just a downward facing dog, but with your heels elevated, okay? Then from here, we're going to start with a pike press, basically. So if you want, you can just do pike presses. That's just bending your elbows and lowering your forehead down towards the mat. So you can do just that. Bend your elbows, lower your forehead down, and then push yourself back up. That can be your push-up variation if you want. I'm going to continue. I'm going to lower my forehead down to the mat, but then I'm going to scoop down and lower my chest, and then my belly, and then my hips towards the mat, so that I end up in basically an upward facing dog pose. And then we're going to reverse the movement, okay? So starting in your basically downward facing dog, and now bending your elbows, lower your forehead down towards the mat, and now scoop, chest, belly, and hips. Then from here, we're going to reverse the movement. So we're gonna scoop backwards, hips, belly, chest, and push yourself back up, return to your starting position. Now, the second half of the movement, scooping back and pushing yourself back up, is harder than the first half of the movement. So a very common exercise is what I've seen called a yogi push-up. I don't know if that's the official name of it, but it's basically, we're doing the first half of the Divebomber push-up the way I showed you, but then instead of reversing the movement and scooping back, you can just push your hips up and back to return to your starting position. And we're counting that as a push-up variation. Even though you're not doing the push-up part of it, it's still gonna count. So if you want to see that modification, it looks like this. So it starts the same up here in what's basically a downward facing dog position with your heels elevated. And now bend your elbows, lower your forehead down to the mat, and scoop, chest, belly, hips. And now from here, instead of reversing the movement and scooping back, you're going to just lift your hips and push them back. Okay, return to your starting position, and that's one rep. So that's a slightly easier modification for the Divebomber push-up. But I know it's a difficult push-up variation. We're only doing sets of 5. We're going to be doing sets of 5 Divebomber push-ups in between all of the other exercises. So keep that in mind. You only have to do 5 of them at a time. But if it's still too difficult, any push-up variation you want to do is fine. So maybe something like a pike toe tap push-up, so you can just do a standard push-up and then lift the hips, push them up and back. And as you do that, you can pick up one hand, reach back and tap the toes on the opposite side, alternating sides for that pike toe tap with each rep. Okay, always lifting the hand and reaching back across your body to tap the toes on the opposite side. That will be a good substitution. But if that's still too difficult, any push-up variation you want to do is fine. But I will be doing Divebomber push-ups because I feel like torturing myself today, I guess. So that's it. That is all 4 exercises that we are doing today. Now here's the format. So we're starting with push-ups. We're going to do 5 Divebomber push-ups. Then we'll move on to squats. I'm doing my sandbag clean and press, squat and press, 20 reps. Then before we move on to lunges, I'm going to do another set of 5 Divebomber push-ups. Then I'll do my side lunge with an oblique twist and a knee up. 20 reps all on the same leg. Then I'm going to do 20 reps on the other leg, but before I switch legs, I'm going to sneak in another set of 5 dive bomber push-ups. Then I'm going to throw my sandbag over the opposite shoulder and I'm going to do 20 lunges on the other leg. Then, before I move on to abs, 5 more dive bomber push-ups, and then I'll finish up with 20 reps of my ab exercise. That's the circuit. So at this point, we have completed, once through the circuit, we've completed a total of 20 dive bomber push-ups, 20 squats, 20 lunges on each leg, which is a total of 40 lunges, and 20 reps of abs. I'm also going to be double counting my abs, so I'm going to count each 2 bag drags as 1 rep. So every time the bag ends up towards the same side of me, I'm going to count it as 1 rep, but you don't have to double count them. You can count each drag as 1 rep. So when you drag the bag from one side to the other, you can count that as 1 rep. And then when you drag it back, you can count that as 2. I just feel like increasing the difficulty today, so I'm going to double count them, but that's up to you. Then we're going to repeat the circuit again. So that means that once we repeat the circuit again, we will have completed a total of 40 dive bomber push-ups, a total of 20 squats, and a total of 40 lunges on each leg, which is 80 lunges all day. So we're doubling our lunges today. If you do not want to double your lunges, then you're going to do sets of 10 instead of sets of 20. So you're going to do your 5 push-ups, you're going to do then your 20 squats, then another 5 push-ups. Then you'll do 10 lunges on one leg, 5 more push-ups, 10 lunges on the other leg, 5 more push-ups, and then 20 reps of abs. But I'm going to be doubling my lunges. So that's up to you. If you don't want to double your lunges, you can cut them in half. And that's it. We're going to go through the circuit twice, and that is our 160 reps, but I'm doubling my lunges, so really it's 200 reps. And also I'm kind of doubling my abs, so it's kind of 240 reps, right? So you don't have to double the lunges, you don't have to double the abs, but I'm going to be. And that's it. So hopefully that is all clear. Please remember that I do always take the time to type out the instructions in the description box down below the video, and of course I'm going to do the entire workout right along with you, so watch me do it. Read the instructions, but then of course, as always, if anything is unclear with the format and how it all fits together, if you have questions about any of the exercises that we are doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions or beginner modifications, I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here to answer questions. So please ask questions if you have them. It's really important that you understand how to do the exercises correctly before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury, and also just so that you make sure that you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. And hopefully you guys know that it is also incredibly important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. So I'm always here to help facilitate that. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. I also want to remind you one more time, especially if you're following along with the video, to please make sure that you are going at your own pace, and please make sure that you are minding your form. So if you are in really good shape, you are definitely going to be faster than I am, and that is wonderful. Good for you. Be faster than I am, as long as you are not losing anything off of your form to get there. But if you're racing to stay ahead of me, either because you're competing with me and you want to beat my score, or because you set a really ambitious time goal for yourself that you're chasing, and your form starts to get sloppy, that means you need to slow down. It is always going to be safer and more effective to slow down and do your reps with really good form than it is to race through and allow your form to get sloppy. So please mind your form. And if you are racing to keep up with me and your form starts to get sloppy, you need to slow down, okay? If you are slower than I am, be slower than I am. As long as you got dressed and you got out here and you are doing these reps with me today, that's all I care about. Don't worry about how fast you're going. Worry that you are executing each and every rep with the best possible form that you can manage. So please do not race to keep up with me at the expense of your form. If you're racing to keep up with me and your form starts to get sloppy, then you need to slow down. If you fall behind, either because you're just working at a slower pace than I am, or because you're needing longer rest breaks than what I'm taking, or if you're needing rest breaks where I'm not taking them, that's fine. Pause the video, and come back when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready to come back, you come back and we will finish the workout together. Now, I do want you to challenge yourself to keep your rest breaks as short as you can, but they should be as long as you need. You should only resume the workout once you feel that you have regained enough strength and you have enough stamina so that you can continue with good form. So please do not sacrifice your form for speed. Go at your own pace and mind your form. Please make sure that you are working to your own level. So that means choosing a sandbag or a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a household item that is an appropriate weight for you, nothing too heavy. It means dropping the added weight if it becomes too taxing and switching to the body weight versions of the exercises that I showed you. It may mean putting your knees down for the push-ups. It might mean holding on to something for support for your lunges. It might mean shortening up your range of motion on the squats. It might mean pausing to rest. So please just be smart, be safe, listen to your body, use your common sense, make the decision that is best for you, and just do your best. Please remember that your best is always good enough, so let your best be good enough. Hopefully I have covered everything. If you are ready to go ahead and begin the workout, gather whatever equipment you need. So for me, that's just my sandbag today. I'm also using my exercise mat so I don't scratch up my concrete. So if you do knee push-ups, then you may be more comfortable with something soft beneath your knees. So an exercise mat or a yoga mat is ideal if you have one. If you don't have a mat, a towel should probably suffice. And if you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. If you're doing knee push-ups or if you need something soft beneath your hands, then also maybe a throw pillow or a seat cushion could work. So just make sure you have something soft beneath you so that you're comfortable, and then pause the video, go get dressed, and meet me right back here. We're going to start with a quick little 5-minute warm-up, and then we will get right into our day 28 reps. So as soon as you're ready, let's get started with our 5-minute warm-up. You're going to begin by just allowing your head to fall towards one shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. You're not pulling your ear down towards your shoulder. You're just allowing gravity to do all the work of gently stretching the opposite side of your neck by simply using the weight of your arm to do so. So now we're going to switch sides. Allow your head to fall towards the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. Your arm is completely relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed as well. They should be down, away from your ears. Next, we're going to do some head rolls. So you're going to start by allowing your chin to fall first towards your chest and then towards the opposite shoulder and back. And each time you roll your head from one shoulder to the other, just start feeling your head getting heavier and heavier as you allow your range of motion to increase, so that eventually your entire torso is just kind of spilling in front of you. Your arms are nice and loose like a rag doll. Now we're going to do some shoulder rolls, either towards the back or towards the front, it doesn't matter. Just explore your full range of motion here. So think about making the circles as big as you possibly can. Next, we're going to do arm circles, but we're going to start small with our arm circles. So begin by extending your arms straight out to the sides. And now start by making small circles either towards the back or towards the front, it doesn't matter. But gradually as the interval progresses, you're going to start making your circles bigger and bigger until finally you're making the circles as big as you possibly can, exploring your full range of motion. Now step your feet out so that they're a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, bend the knees and sweep your arms in front of you, and as you straighten the legs, you're reaching up as high as you can towards the ceiling. Each time you bend your knees, you're allowing your range of motion to increase a little bit at a time, sinking deeper and deeper into that squat. Now keep your feet planted right where they are. They should be wider than shoulder width apart. We're going to lunge side to side, nice and easy. Now add the arms. So now with each lunge, I'm reaching my arm across my body. It's like you're trying to throw your arm across the room. Now step the feet in. We're going to march in place. So bringing the feet in and march. Knees are low to start, but gradually as the interval progresses, you're going to start driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you possibly can towards your chest. Feel a nice little stretch in your glutes. And now we're jogging in place. Again, knees are low to start, but gradually you're going to start driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you possibly can towards your chest. Now keep jogging. Next is booty kicks. So keep jogging, but now with each step, you're bringing your foot behind you. Really try to kick yourself in the booty cheek with your heel. Now for this next one, if you struggle with balance, you can hold onto the wall or a chair for support. If not, hands on the hips is fine. You're going to transfer your weight into one foot, pick up the other foot, and just swing the leg front and back. Nice and loose. Just waking up those hip flexors. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you'll put this foot down, transfer your weight again, pick up the opposite foot, and swing the leg front and back. You can start low, and then as the interval progresses, if it feels good and you want to, you can start expanding your range of motion, swinging that leg higher and higher. Now we're going to switch legs again, so put this foot down, pick up the opposite foot, extend the leg straight out in front of you, and then bring the leg around and behind. Each time you make this semicircle, you're lifting your leg higher and higher. And now we're going to finish with 2 hip circles. So drive the knee up towards your chest and use your hand to guide it around. Other side, extend the opposite leg out in front. Bring the leg around and behind. Lifting the leg higher and higher each time you make that semicircle. And now 2 hip circles. Drive the knee up towards your chest. Use your hand to guide it around. We're going to finish with a hamstring stretch. Feet wide apart, hinging at the hips, forward fold. You want to keep your back as flat as you can so that you isolate your hamstrings more effectively. So it might help to use the wall or a chair or the arm of your couch or something to assist you getting into this stretch. That can make it more comfortable, can make it easier to keep your back flat, and it might make the stretch a little bit more accessible for you. And that's it. That is our little 5-minute warm up. So let's go ahead and get right into the workout, starting with 5 Divebomber push-ups. I'm starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So starting in your downward facing dog position. So hips lifted high and now scoop. Forehead, chest, belly, and hips, and reverse the movement. Hips, belly, chest, and forehead. That's 1 rep. We're doing 5 of these. Do your best. So now moving on to squats. I'm basically doing Zercher squats, but I'm adding a sandbag clean and press, and then I'm adding another overhead press after I do my squat. So shoulders back and down, hinge at the hips, back flat, weight in the heels, bend down and grab a hold of your sandbag. Now we're going to clean the sandbag, so hinging at the hips, bring the bag with you, flip it up and over, catch it in your elbows. Now straighten the elbows and press the bag up overhead. Bring the bag back down to your shoulder, and now squat, and 1 more overhead press. Bring the bag back down in front of your chest, flip it up and over. That's 1 rep, okay? So hinge at the hips, clean the sandbag, press it up overhead. Now squat, press it up overhead. So clean and press, squat and press. That's 3. We're going to 20. Do your best. So squats are already half done. They're finished for this round. So next we're moving on to lunges. But remember, in between each exercise, we're sneaking in 5 more dive bombers or whatever push-up variation you're doing. So for me, that's dive bomber push-ups, 5 reps when you're ready. Was that 4 or 5? It might have been 5, might have been 6, but it was at least 5. All right. Don't let your mind wander like I do. Stay focused on what you're doing. It's safer. You're going to be more likely to mind your form that way, and you're going to be less likely to miscount your reps and end up having to do extra reps like I always have to do. All right, so next is lunges. I'm doing side lunges. Side lunge with a knee up and hold. I'm going to be adding my sandbag for weight, and I'm going to be adding an oblique twist. You do any lunge variation you want, with or without weight, with or without a twist, with or without a knee up, okay? So, sandbag over the shoulder. The side of the sandbag on is my standing leg, so I'm going to pick up the other foot, step to the side and lunge, oblique twist. Now drive the knee up and hold. Right into the next rep. Lunge and twist, knee up and hold. That's 2. We're going to 20. Do your best. That's 20. Now remember, I'm doubling my lunges because we're doing 20 reps on each leg per round. So if you don't want to double your lunges, you can do sets of 10 instead of sets of 20. But if it's too late to do that, then you can skip doing the other leg this round and then just work the opposite leg next round. Just make sure that you're still doing 40 total push-ups because it's gonna change the format of the workout. So that means your circuit is going to begin and end with push-ups. So just make sure you're keeping track and doing at least 20 push-ups per round. All right, next is lunges on the other leg, but first, another set of 5 push-ups. So 5 more dive bombers, or whatever push-up variation you are doing. So now we're just going to repeat the lunges on the other side. Whatever lunge variation you did, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So either 10 reps if you did 10 reps on the other leg, or 20 reps if you want to double your reps with me. So step to the side and lunge, oblique twist, drive the knee up and hold, fight for that balance. 20 reps, do your best. That's 10. So you can move on if you're cutting the reps in half. I'm going to do 10 more. So lunges are half done, even though we've done 40 lunges already. If you're doubling the lunges with me, they're only half done. So now before we move on to abs, doing 5 more Divebomber push-ups. You can switch to an easier push-up variation if you want. We've done 4 sets of 5. We did 1 set of push-ups before our squats, 1 set before each lunge variation. So 1 before the right leg, 1 before the left leg, and 1 before our ab exercise. So that's 20 total push-ups. So all we need to do to finish this round is drag this bag back and forth 20 times. So lateral plank pull, or what I call bag drag. Plank pose. Now reach across your body, grab a hold of the sandbag and pull it to the other side. And now reverse the movement, pull the bag towards the other side. So I'm double counting these, so each time the bag ends up on this side of me, I'm counting 1 rep. So you do not have to double count them. You can count each pull as 1 rep if you want. That's up to you. I'm double counting them. So that was my first rep. So pull the bag towards the other side. And now back, that's 2. So counting that way, I'm going to 20. Do your best. If you're not double counting them, then that's 20 for you and you can move on to round 2. I'm going to do 10 more, double counted. 20. So that's round 1. Now we've done 20 reps of everything. So we're just going to repeat that whole thing. Took me about 14.5 minutes, but now I've talked us through everything once. So I would like to try to pick up my pace a little bit in round 2. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna talk less. We're hitting the 15-minute mark right now. So I'm gonna make it my goal to finish in under 30 minutes, okay? Just do your best. Make sure you're not sacrificing your form for speed. Go at your own pace. Pause and rest if you need to. If you need a longer rest break before we start round 2, pause the video, towel off, get a sip of water, let your heart rate come down a little bit, let your breathing normalize a little bit, and when you feel that you have regained enough strength and you have enough stamina so that you can continue with good form, let's go ahead and get into round 2. So we're starting again at the top with 5 dive bombers. At any time you want, you can switch to an easier push-up variation. Make the decision that's best for you. And 20 more reps of sandbag, clean and press, squat and press. More. So squats are all done. Push-ups are already more than halfway done. Let's sneak in another quick set of 5 before we move on to lunges. lunges. I'm going to do 20 more reps on each leg. If you're not doubling your lunges, you'll do 10 reps on each leg. Or if you did 20 rounds on one leg last round, you can just skip that leg this round and do 20 reps on the other leg. That's fine. Make the decision that's best for you. As long as you're completing 20 lunges, or 20 lunges on each leg, as long as you're completing a total of 40 lunges throughout the course of your day, it's literally all that matters. That and that you're doing your reps with good form. So when you're ready, here we go. Side lunge with oblique twist, knee up and hold, 20 reps, or 10 if you don't want to double your lunges. Do your best. That's 10. You can sneak in another set of 5 push-ups and then switch to the other leg if you want. If you're doubling the lunges with me, let's do another 10 reps on this side before we move on. That's 20. So we've completed 60 lunges on the day. We have to do 20 more. And we've completed 30 push-ups. So just 10 more, but 5 at a time. So before we move on to the other leg for our lunges, sneaking in another 5 Divebomber push-ups when you're ready. Push-up variation. That was our 35th push-up. We only have to do 5 more. We got this. So now moving on to lunges on the other leg. 10 or 20 reps. I'm doing 20. You can do 10 if you want. That's 10. You can move on if you want. I'm going to 20. That's 12. 8 more. 20 more reps of abs. But first, our final 5 dive bombers. So, well done. We stop to finish up with our final 20 reps of abs. So remember, I'm double counting these. You can single count them if you prefer. That's up to you. 20 lateral plank, sandbag pulse for back drags. Double counted back drags. Ready, here we go. Burpee. And especially, no workout during this challenge is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. The bonus burpee is mandatory. It is part of the workout, and doing the bonus burpee after every single workout is part of this challenge. It is an exclamation point at the end of the workout. It's a little celebration that we got our reps done today. A little pat on the back for sticking with the challenge for another day, for following through on our commitment for another day. So, as soon as you're ready, let's do our bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete. So here we go. This is our final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. Nicely done. That was a tough little workout. I was pushing myself really hard today. I was pulling my sandbag so hard I broke the handle. And that's not a knock on this sandbag. You guys, this sandbag is well over 10 years old, and that is its first serious injury. So, nicely done if you managed to hang in there with me and finish in under 30 minutes. Amazing. So At the halfway point, I decided to set my time goal for under 30 minutes, and I ended up finishing the workout in 27 minutes and 57 seconds, which means that I picked up my pace a lot in round 2. I was pushing myself really hard, so I'm happy with that. But most importantly, no matter how long it took me, I got it done. That's the important thing. So if you timed yourself and you feel comfortable doing so, go ahead and leave me a comment with your score. Let me know how long it took you. So let's do a quick cool down together. You just want to keep moving while you allow your heart rate to come down a little bit and while you allow your breathing to normalize. So you can pace back and forth. See, I'm just shaking out my legs. Shake out the legs a little bit. Shake out the arms. Let's do a quick shoulder stretch. So just bringing one arm across your body and using your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Make sure that your straight arm is completely relaxed and make sure your shoulder is relaxed. If your shoulder is tense and hunched up by your ear, you're not going to be able to stretch it effectively. So relax the arm, relax the shoulder, feel that nice stretch in your shoulder, and keep moving while we're doing these stretches. So you can see I'm just shaking out my legs. If you're still breathing really heavily, it might feel better to pace. You can pace back and forth. You can even just shift your weight from foot to foot, but you just want to keep moving, kind of keep the circulation going. Let's do the other shoulder, so bringing the opposite arm across your body and using your other arm to pull it in close to your chest, making sure that your straight arm is completely relaxed. And again, making sure your shoulder is completely relaxed so that you can stretch it effectively. This shoulder stretch should feel really good after all those push-ups. Keep moving. So shake the legs, pace back and forth, or just shift your weight from foot to foot, that's fine. And keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. So you do that by really feeling your diaphragm being pulled down as you inhale. And as you inhale, think about breathing all the way down to your belly button. Feel your rib cage expand and visualize filling up your entire torso with air. And then use your diaphragm to control the air as you exhale. Let's do a tricep stretch next. So bending one elbow, place your hand on the elbow and gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground as you gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. So you're trying to avoid having this free hand hanging out up here somewhere by your shoulder. So point the fingers straight down. Feel that really, really nice stretch in your triceps. You guys know I love this stretch. Make sure you're still moving. So you can see I'm just kind of shifting my weight from foot to foot. But again, you can shake out the legs, or if you want, you can pace back and forth. Shake it out. Let's get the other side. So bending your other elbow. Place your hand on the elbow and gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. Feel that nice stretch in your triceps. Make sure you're continuing to move, and make sure that you are continuing to focus on slowing down your breathing. So let's take a couple more nice deep breaths here. Remember, as you inhale, you're breathing all the way down to your belly button, allowing your rib cage to expand and filling up your entire torso with air. One more inhale. Feel that diaphragm dropping down, and then use the diaphragm to control the air as you slowly exhale. Shake it out. We're going to finish with a quad stretch. So if you struggle with balance, you can hold on to the wall or some other strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface for support, like maybe your kitchen counter or your dining room table, the arm of your couch. You can hold on to whatever you need to for balance. You don't have to hold on to anything for balance if you want, but if you're holding on to something for balance, you're going to pick up the opposite foot, bend the knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of your foot with the hand that's on the same side. If you are not holding on to anything for support, you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands, and now press your heel into your booty cheek. Really actually press it in there. As you're doing that, keep pressing, and as you're doing that, tilt your pelvis forward. So think about tucking your booty underneath you and trying to touch your spine with your belly button. As soon as you combine both of those two elements, you should feel that stretch intensify in your quad muscles as you isolate them more effectively, but I also want you to feel that stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexor. So coming out, shake out the legs. Let's get the other side. So now, bending the opposite knee, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that's on the same side if you're holding onto something for support. If you are not holding onto anything for support, you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands. Press your heel into your booty cheek, and as you're doing that, tilt your pelvis forward. So tuck the booty underneath you, suck that belly button all the way back towards your spine. Make sure that as you tilt the pelvis forward, you're continuing to really press your heel into your booty cheek. And make sure that as you are pressing your heel into your booty cheek, that you're continuing to mindfully tilt that pelvis forward. Feel that stretch intensify in your quad muscles and feel that stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexors. Let's take one more nice deep breath here. One last time, inhale, breathing all the way down to your belly button. Fill your entire torso up with air, and then slowly control the air as you exhale. Come out, and one last time, shake out the legs, shake out the wrists, shake out the arms, swing the arms a little bit, and that's it. That is our little cool down. So now I'm moving directly onto cardio. I have Rude Becca here with me today. Rude Becca is my adorable black jump rope with these cute little white skulls on the handles. If you would like to know where I get my jump ropes, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link and use coupon code RudeBecca to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. I'm going to set my interval timer for 10-second rest intervals and 20-second work intervals times 20 rounds. I'm going to go inside where it's cool. I'm gonna get some music going, and I'm just gonna do 20 minutes of moderate paced cardio with my jump rope. Then I will go immediately into my stretching routine, and then I can have my shower, eat some lunch, and get on with the rest of my day. The additional cardio is not mandatory. It's not officially part of the challenge, but I'm sharing this with you because every year since year 2 or 3 of the challenge, this is how I do the challenge. After every single workout, I add on 20 to 30 minutes or more of moderate paced cardio. For me, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be 20 minutes of interval jump rope. But on the rare occasion, I have decided to go for a jog. That is not happening today, not in this heat. But jogging is another great option, or if you have a bike, you can take a bike ride. Those are both wonderful options if you don't want to jump rope. Of course, you can also hop on the exercise bike or the treadmill or an elliptical or a Stairmaster if you have something like that for 20-30 minutes, more if you want. If you have access to a pool or if you live close to a body of water and weather is permitting, then swimming is amazing cardio. You can go for a nice swim. But you could also do up and down the steps. So if you have stairs in your home or your apartment complex, that's another great option. If you took your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail today and there's steps there, you can do up and down the steps anywhere there's steps. If you have access to the field at your local high school, you could do up and down the bleachers, or you could jog around the track, or you could do some combination of the two. If you have a heavy bag, maybe work on your heavy bag. 20-30 minutes of moderate paced cardio, any way you want to get it done is fine. And if you want to do more, you can do more. You could maybe go to a fitness class if that's something you enjoy, or you really can just meet up with a friend in the park and play some tennis or some basketball or something like that. So you don't have to do the cardio if you don't want to, but if you are using this challenge to get yourself in shape, if you want to improve your stamina, maybe you're trying to lose weight, the additional cardio is going to help accelerate that process for you, which means that you're going to start seeing results faster, and that's really encouraging. When you can see that your hard work is paying off, it makes it easier to find the motivation to stick with the challenge because you see that what you're doing is working, so it makes you want to keep doing it. Plus, as you're getting stronger and your stamina is improving, the workouts themselves should start to feel a little bit easier. So that also makes it easier to find the motivation to get your reps done each day if you know that it's not going to be as much of a struggle and it's not going to take you as long as it was taking you maybe in the first week or 2 of the challenge. So the additional cardio, again, it is not required, it is not mandatory, it is not officially part of the challenge, but it's the way I do the challenge, and it is strongly recommended. So even if you don't have time to add on cardio after every single workout, if you can at least find 2 or 3 days a week where you can carve out 20 or 30 minutes or more to tack on some additional cardio after the workouts, I just know you're going to be so much happier with your results on day 40 of the challenge, and I want everyone to be happy with their results. Also, very, very, very strongly recommended, even more so than the additional cardio, is that you are taking a good 20 or 30 minutes to stretch every single day. If you have time to do your stretching right now, immediately after the workout or immediately after your cardio, if you're adding on cardio, that is always going to be the most efficient and the most effective time to get your stretching done, because your muscles are already nice and warm from the workout. But if you don't have time to stretch now, that's fine. It doesn't matter what time of day you do your stretching, just as long as you're doing it. Taking the time to stretch every day is going to help to alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing. And if you're doing the challenge with me and daily exercise is something new to you, then it's very likely that you are experiencing muscle soreness. So if you stretch after the workouts, it's going to help alleviate some of that. And that, again, is really going to help you to stick with the challenge, because if we do an especially tough workout and you're so sore the next day you can't move, it's going to be next to impossible to find the motivation to do your reps that day. But if you had taken the time to stretch the day before, you maybe could have alleviated some of that muscle soreness, so that the next day you would be more likely to say, well, I'm sore from yesterday, that was a tough workout, I don't feel 100%, but I can move, and I really want to stick with the challenge, so I'm going to get my reps done today. So it's not fun to feel sore, so even if you're not doing the challenge, take the time to stretch so that you alleviate some of that muscle soreness, but it's really going to increase the likelihood that you are able to stick with the challenge if you're not as sore the next day. Also, taking the time to stretch every day is going to reduce your risk of injury moving forward. And that, of course, is incredibly important if you are doing this challenge with me. So again, it's important even if you're not doing the challenge with me, because who wants to get injured? But if you're doing this challenge with me, a big part of the reason we're doing this challenge, one of the main objectives that we are looking to accomplish with this challenge, is to establish a habit of daily exercise, and you do that through consistent effort. That's why we're working out 6 days in a row every single week, Monday through Saturday of every week. So the goal is to do all 40 days of the challenge, to start on day 1 and do all 40 days of the challenge. If you become injured, then you're going to have to miss a few days while you allow your body to recover. And all of that momentum that we've been working so hard to build is going to come to a screeching halt. And it's going to make it that much more difficult to establish that habit of daily exercise. The goal is to do all 40 days of the challenge so that when you get to day 40, you have firmly established that habit of daily exercise, and you continue after the challenge is through, making daily exercise part of your routine. So taking the time to stretch every day is one of the 2 most important things you can do to mitigate the risk of injury. Nothing's a guarantee. Even if you take the time to stretch every day, you still might get injured. Injuries happen. But of course, you want to do everything you can to try to avoid injuring yourself. You want to reduce that risk. So the 2 most important things you can do is, first of all, minding your form during the workout. So make sure that you are doing the reps correctly. Make sure you understand how to do the reps with the proper form. And then make sure you are actually applying that knowledge during the workout and doing the reps with the correct form. And number 2, stretching. Taking the time to stretch every day, you're going to train your muscles to be generally more flexible, more pliable. They're going to be more resilient. You're going to increase your range of motion during the workouts, and it's just going to make it less likely that you're going to strain something or pull a muscle during one of the workouts. So it's especially important if you are doing this challenge with me, because you really want to avoid injury for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's again going to make it harder to establish that habit of daily exercise. But also, it can be really discouraging when you set out to do something and you're intending to do all 40 days of the challenge, and then you have to sit out a few days because you get injured. It's really easy to get down on yourself, to feel like you did something wrong. It's really easy to let that negative self-talk take over and call yourself a failure because you were going to do all 40 days of the challenge and you didn't follow through on that. And that is not in keeping with what this challenge is about. So understand that injuries may still happen, even if you're very careful, even if you do all your reps perfectly, and even if you stretch after the workouts. Nothing's a guarantee. You may become injured, and if you do become injured, you should rest. Okay, it is not worth completing all 40 days of the challenge if you are going to not be able to move afterwards. Okay, so make sure that you are prioritizing your own physical health and mental health. So when I say prioritize your own mental health, what I'm talking about is if you injure yourself, rest a few days, but don't call yourself a failure because of that, okay? There is nothing wrong with taking care of your physical body. At the same time, you need to take care of your mental health. So all you need to do is tell yourself, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm sitting out these few days because this is what I need to do for my body. And then you're going to just come back when you're ready, but don't allow that negative self-talk to take over and convince yourself that, well, you already failed, so whatever, it's over. You tried to do it and you failed. No, you did what you could, you were injured, now you're taking care of yourself, and then you'll get back into it. You'll do what you can. You'll complete as many days of the challenge as you can. And then after the challenge is through, you can make up those days that you missed, that's fine. Or you can just say, okay, this year I was injured for a few days, so I managed to complete 30 days of the challenge. Next year, I'll make it my goal to complete all 40 days, or to complete 35 days or 31 days. I'll make it my goal to just improve upon what I did this year. Okay, so it's really important if you do become injured that you don't get down on yourself. Just take the time to heal and then come back when you're ready. But if you want to do everything you can to mitigate that risk and to reduce your risk of becoming injured so that you increase the likelihood that you will be able to successfully complete all 40 days of the challenge with me, then number one, you're going to make sure that you understand how to do the exercises correctly before you begin the workout. And number two, you're going to apply that knowledge during the workout, do the exercises with the proper form, and then you are going to stretch every single day. Immediately after the workout, again, is going to be the most efficient and the most effective time to get your stretching done, but you can stretch at any point during the day as long as you're doing your stretching. That's what's important. Just make sure that if you put off your stretching until later on in the day, your muscles will have gotten cold again, so you're going to need to take a few minutes to warm them back up before you begin stretching. You never want to jump into your stretching routine with cold muscles, because your muscles need to be warm in order for them to be pliable so that you can stretch them safely and effectively. And then the third reason it is so important to take the time to stretch every day, so number one, it is going to help to alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing after the workouts. Number two, it is going to help to reduce your risk of injury moving forward. And number three, taking the time to stretch every day is of course going to improve your flexibility. So if you are taking the time to do these 160 reps with me every day to build your strength, and you are taking at least 2 or 3 days a week to tack on 20 or 30 minutes or more of additional moderate paced cardio after the workouts to improve your stamina, why not take 20 or 30 minutes each day to stretch so that you improve your flexibility while you're at it? It just makes the challenge so much more well-rounded. Flexibility is a really important aspect of your overall fitness level that can tend to be overlooked sometimes, and I think undervalued. But trust me when I tell you that your future self will thank you if you take the time to prioritize your stretching now, because you are going to be really grateful for that flexibility and that mobility when you get older. As far as I know, we are all getting older. I don't know anyone who's getting younger. So please make sure that you are taking the time to stretch every single day. Just please make sure that you are doing so safely. If you are an absolute beginner and you don't know how to stretch and you need a stretching routine, I have an amazing stretching routine. It's not my stretching routine. It's just a stretching routine I found years ago on YouTube, and I do it all the time. And it is specifically geared towards beginners. It is specifically designed for people who are completely inflexible. So if you avoid stretching because you're inflexible or because you're a beginner and you don't know how to do it, please just ask. I am happy to share that link with you. But that is it. You guys, that is officially a wrap on day 28 of the challenge. And that means that that is officially a wrap on our 4th full week of the challenge. We just have 2 weeks left, which is absolutely amazing. So if you did this day 28 workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. And if you are doing this challenge with me, thank you so much. And please let me know, because I do like to have an idea of how many people are doing the challenge with me each year. So whether you started the challenge on day 1 and you just did the first 20 days of the challenge with me, whether you started the challenge on day 21 and you're doing the final 20 days of the challenge with me, whether you're doing every other day of the challenge with me, Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And even if you're not doing the challenge with me, thank you for doing this workout with me today. And even if you're not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It truly does mean the world to me. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything was unclear about the format of today's workout and how everything fits together, if you have any questions about any of the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions beyond what I have already provided, if you need to see beginner modifications, I'm always here to help. So please ask questions if you have them. And if you know anyone else who might be interested in joining the challenge, remember it is not too late to join. It is never too late to join, so please feel free to share this workout with them. Feel free to share the playlist with them. Feel free to share any or all of the playlists with them. Remember, we have a beginner playlist, an intermediate playlist, and an advanced playlist. So if you know someone who is an absolute beginner and they're just looking to get started with home workouts, you can share last year's playlist with them. It will be perfect. You can share this year's playlist with them if you're doing the challenge with me this year and you want somebody doing it with you. If you know someone who's in really great shape and they're looking for a workout challenge that's really going to push them, you can share the playlist from year 5 with them. But the more people I have doing the challenge with me each year, the happier I am. So please feel free to share. And that is going to do it for today. Tomorrow is Sunday, so that means that tomorrow we rest. And I will see you all right back here on Monday for day 29. Bye.